Hi, it's Wendy here again from Toonpish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. Today I'm doing a collaboration with Claire at Claire's Crafty Corner, and new to YouTube is Chantal at Live Sleep Resin. So if you can, go and have a look at their channels. They're both amazing crafters, and show your support. Put a sub their way. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Even if you're not a paying customer of YouTube, you can still subscribe, so go for it. I thought, what do I come up with? The brief was something Valentines. Well, obviously Valentines is just around the corner. So yeah, it's got to be red or pink or purple even. You know, I like purple. And I thought I'll do some coasters. So I've got these little druzys. Now this was actually a big druzy mould that I've cut up into bits, and I've got quite a few of them because obviously it is a big mould. So I've cut it up into bits. And I thought, I'll put these in coasters. Let's give it a go, eh? Let's see how I get on. So, Resin 8 Red. This is one of the few reds I found that is so red. It's gorgeous. And Vista Cascade Resin, one of my favourites. A new resin. It's only been out since middle of last year, and it's gorgeous. You only need a little tiny bit of this red colour. I did end up putting a little bit more in to make it more opaque than what I showed, but nevertheless, look at that colour, it's so gorgeous.
What's wrong with them? I don't understand. Maybe it will pass by, someone save me for a pass out. I'm too lonely to be done. I'm a drink at this.
Just pouring it into my heart moulds. Very common heart moulds, but they are so lovely. I didn't need this many, I didn't need 9, but I had the res, so I thought, well, I can always use them again in the future. You never know what you're going to need them for. Getting rid of the bubbles.
If I had an option to be someone else, I would, and let go of you.
And 24 hours later we can pop them out. Gorgeous red, isn't that lovely? Red is a difficult colour in resin, really is, and to find a really nice opaque red is rare. I've got my coaster moulds there ready. So these are my little druzy pieces that I've cut up, and I've cut them to the size that I want. I want them in a slice of the coaster moulds. And I've cut a heart as well for the centre of that one. And I had a big bit left over, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use all of that. This is my interference pink. And I've kept an edge around of all of these pieces deliberately, because the first layer I'm putting in the colour, I don't want to go over the druzy moulds, I want it to go round. And obviously when you take the druzy out, you don't want a great big gap at the side of your coaster, so you need to have it inside the coaster slightly. I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm not sure if I am. So I'm just making sure that the resin goes around the outside of the druzy, not on top of it, because I want clear on top of the druzy. I've not got the silliest hands, and it's difficult getting it in the gap, but I did do it. And using the heat tool to get rid of all those pesky bubbles. Now this purple is a mica powder I bought from eBay, again about 3 or 4 years ago. I couldn't tell you what where I purchased it, but look at that colour. It is amazing. It's a mica powder. When I first started, I bought cheap mica powders from eBay because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on something. I didn't know if I was going to keep doing it. So I bought all these really cheap mica powders that are really soap dyes, and they are gorgeous. A lot of them I've still got.
I look at you and know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound.
Now this is 90 minutes later. It's starting to cure up now, and I can put my design in with my micro brush. I just wanted to make a pattern that you could see rather than just one blank colour. It's nice to have a variant in that colour. Oh, there's a hair there, I think. Now with this Vista resin, it does tend to get a little film on the top as it's curing, and it can cause bubbles if you stir it back into the resin, which I found out later. Here I'm pulling out the little blobs that I'm picking up with my brush.
You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love.
And there's a close-up of the pattern that I've made, and it stays there because it's 90 minutes after pouring.
Beat sound, it's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life.
Okay, this is the next day. So this is the clear resin that I'm going to be putting over the druzys.
I want you.
I did make up quite a bit because they're quite thick moulds, but I didn't want to pour it all in at once because you've got to get rid of those bubbles, and druzy moulds are notorious for keeping air. So I'm using a silicone tool to pull the bubbles out of the druzy moulds. Now it's not perfect, and I did go in later and use one of those little micro brushes to get out a lot more of the bubbles. I won't put you through that boredom on this video, but it does take a long time to get rid of the bubbles out of a druzy mould, and if you leave them it will look horrendous. Mine did have bubbles in them, but they were quite few and far between, so it didn't really spoil the overall appearance of the coasters. And I'm going to show you in a minute. You can see it more on the purple ones. I'm going to bring you down and show you the bubbles coming out of the druzy moulds.
Or maybe just lovers, 'cause under the covers, baby, you're showing me how to be fearless so no one can hear us. You're throwing the pillars to the floor. Now put your love
Loads of bubbles.
on me, eh, loving on me. Maybe you won't see me get emotional.
So once you've taken your time then in getting rid of those bubbles, then you've got to make sure all the bubbles on the top are gone. And here's the red hearts from yesterday.
Yeah, I want your body.
This is where I'm going to put them in the moulds. I did make sure that I had enough room beforehand that the hearts would fit next to the druzys, which is why the druzys are a slither.
It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it.
There's also enough room on the big one for me to put one down the bottom,
Body,
and the other one's already got a heart in it. So I'm just going to top up the moulds.
body too. Will you be my ride or die? Around all these people, we'll try to be someone better.
Now again, because like I said, this resin by this time had been made quite a while before, and you can see that some of the bubbles in there stayed, unfortunately, but they're only micro bubbles.
Walk away. Maybe
And this is 24 hours later. I'm to demould. Oh, I love demoulding day, don't you? They're much fun.
just above it all, but I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, body too. Yeah, body too.
Happy so far? Okay, some of the resin's gone underneath the druzy, but that's not a big deal. You can soon take that off. It's very thin. Wow, I love the druzys.
I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body.
And then we rinse and repeat. Now you can see that some of them were quite thick, the resin underneath the druzy mould. So I just got a standing knife just to chip it away at it to get it off so I can get the druzy out. I did clean up all the backs just by going around with a standing knife, and I did top coat them all. You can see the little heat bubbles in the middle of that. I'll link where I bought this druzy mould from. It was one big one that I cut up into pieces. Unfortunately, they're in Italy, so at the moment, because of Brexit, we can't buy them, but I'm sure they'll sort that out in time. Onto the purple ones. The swirls in the purple look stunning in my opinion. Wow. And a heart. Oh, there is a little indentation there as well. Where the resin had got so hot with the last bit I poured, it hadn't cured properly, so I did go around, like I said, and top coated all these just to give them a nice shiny top coat. That's gorgeous. That purple's lovely. I love purple. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Those little druzy molds are so sweet and it's so much fun. I know it's layers and it takes a little bit longer to do, but I think the outcome is just amazing. And here they are. I mean, aren't they just gorgeous? The way the light pours through them, they're just amazing things. They really are. And the little hearts, obviously I made that in the mould. You saw that to start with. I love them. There's no point in putting anything around the edges of these. I think they just sparkle on their own. They are so gorgeous, in my opinion. Obviously, I did my little swirly after about 90 minutes, I think. This is Vista Resin though, so it does take a little bit longer. It's got a long working time, Vista Resin. So if you was using other resins, you might have to do it after about an hour. I think my art resin used to be about an hour. But Vista Resin is long working time, so I as long as you don't have it too hot in the room, it's the middle of summer, I'd give it about 90 minutes. And then you can get this swirly effect. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And I love the druzy moulds. I mean, yes, I did cut up a big one to make the heart, but I think it was so worth it. So worth it. And the little ones, I mean, they're gorgeous. I have top coated all of these, by the way. But I have noticed a couple of them have little air bubbles in, but it's not too massive. I mean, it's no big deal. They didn't go in the pressure pot, so I like my pressure pot, I'm afraid. I know a lot of people don't have pressure pots, but I love mine. I really do. But yeah, I mean, the pink shimmer mica powder, if you was to put it with a white background, it gives one effect, and if you put it with a black background, I haven't got anything black here. Yes, I have. you get a totally different effect. And it is gorgeous. And again, I'll put the swirls in there. You can't really see them on camera because it's such a light colour, but I absolutely love them. If you want to make something different, these crystal inserts, the druzys, they're amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you feel like subscribing, that would be so cool. Hit that bell so you know when I upload. Come back and see me next week. Got lots of project plans. Yeah, thanks for joining me. Bye for now.